On this morning, the High Court in the land, or the highest court in the land, I should say, will rule on whether or not President Jacob Zuma has to comply with the Public Protector's recommendations that he should pay for some of the upgrades at the Nkandla residence. The EFF and DA brought the application to the court. Let's cross over to Aldrin Sampear now. He's at the Constitutional Court this morning. Aldrin, let's get into what we can expect from today. What is the program of today's judgment?
Well, actually today, just a short judgment here from the Constitutional Court. The judgment is expected to be handed down at 10 o'clock. I understand that we will be taking it live on Channel 404. It's going to be a short judgment, just a summary from the constitutional justices with regards to their findings. And as we've indicated earlier on as well, is that when it comes to these court judgments, especially the Constitutional Court judgments, you should also always expect a minority judgment, especially if you take into consideration what happened during the Nkandla Thursday case, the SABC COO case, where the DA took the matter to the High Court challenging or rather trying to compel Mr. Mutwening, or the SABC rather, to comply with the remedial action of the Public Protector. That case first went to the High Court. The High Court said that the findings of the Public Protector, the remedial action of the Public Protector, is not binding. It went all the way to the Supreme Court of Appeal, where at the Supreme Court of Appeal says you cannot ignore the findings of the Public Protector. So if you take into consideration that two different courts, the High Court as well as the Supreme Court of Appeals, came to two different judgments, that means that chances are that at this court as well would find that there will be a minority judgment, or chances are probably that we will find a consensus amongst the Constitutional Court justices. Four issues really to look out for here, and this is the declaratory order that the EFF is seeking from the court, that the President did breach the Constitution by ignoring the recommendations or the remedial action of the Public Protector. The second one is the conduct of the National Speaker of Parliament. Should she have made sure that the President is held to account, and make sure that the powers of the Public Protector are uplifted, and make sure that the remedial action of the Public Protector are implemented. The third issue is the issue around the third issue is the issue. Let me just quickly look at my phone here. There's another issue that the EFF is also seeking from the Constitutional Court. Just forgot now what this the third issue is, but we'll come back to that a bit later. But there are four certain issues that the EFF is seeking from the Constitutional Court, and as I emphasized, just slipped my mind that those four issues that the EFF is seeking from the court. Well, earlier on, remember that when the court heard this matter, there were EFF members who marched to the Constitutional Court, and right now it's a different scene here outside the Constitutional Court. We do have public police officers out here, and it seems as though that they are expecting that there will be people here outside the court, considering that this is such a huge matter.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's a lot of talk out there, and a lot of speculation, and a lot of people, the normal person, coming to their own conclusions as to what's going to come out of this. And the word, removal from office when it comes to the President is something that people are wondering, and if that's going to happen. But the reality is that cannot happen. I mean, that is not the Constitutional Court's mandate. They are not allowed to remove a ruling president. That's not what's going to happen, is it?
Well, definitely. That's where the issue around the separation of powers come in. Remember that the Constitutional Court can make the declaratory order and say that the President has contravened the Constitution, has failed to uplift the Constitution, and failed to implement the findings or the remedial action from the Public Protector, but they cannot impeach the President. That is where the issue around the separation of powers come in. That is a role that can only be done by the National Assembly. Remember remember that the National Assembly are the people who will elect the president after the elections. After the elections, the president gets elected as an MP, a member of parliament, and it's only during a special sitting of parliament that the MPs then sit down and elect the president. So it's only them that can remove the president. And of course, what Jeremy Gauntlet has indicated from the presidency representing the president during this hearing was that if the court does lay or does make this declaratory order, it will lay the foundation for an impeachment. So there will be argument in the National Assembly where you'd find that the EFF as well as the DA and probably the other members of the opposition parties will try to push the ANC to make sure that the president is fired as the president of the country. But then, of course, you need a two-third majority. And right now, we know for certain that the ANC doesn't enjoy a two-third majority. The ANC doesn't enjoy a two-third majority, and certainly that's the case with the opposition parties as well. So it will be quite difficult to recall the president. However, though, what could happen is that on a political level, what the ANC could do is sit down and look at the impact that this case has had, and probably the judgment that will come from the Constitutional Court, and say that, listen, after this has been done, really what we should do now is consider whether we should recall the president, as we've seen happen during the Mbeki time when the Nicholson judgment was handed down, because the ANC at the time used the Nicholson judgment, which was later, of course, overturned by the Supreme Court of Appeal, which used the ANC used the Nicholson judgment to recall President Thabo Mbeki. And right now you'd have a judgment from the Constitutional Court, and as you indicated earlier on, it is a judgment that will be coming from the highest court in the land.
Yeah. Just finally, let's just discuss this issue. And we already saw an admission from the president that he was going to pay back a portion of the money, which is yet to be determined. So, in a way, it's almost he's already made the decision for the court, hasn't he? Or what can we read into this? I mean, when the president has already said he will pay back the money, where to from here, and who decides how much he pays?
Well, yes, as you've indicated, yeah, the president did make several concessions during the Constitutional Court hearing that happened last month, and he has indicated that you can't ignore the findings of the public protector or the remedial action of the public protector. He did indicate that they are binding, and you can only ignore them, or take them rather under review in a court of law. So you can't certainly ignore them. So we have those issues that have been lined out. But what this would mean is to get clarity from the Constitutional Court around the powers of the public protector. And as I indicated earlier on, you have two different courts. You have the High Court as well as the Supreme Court of Appeal, which came to different findings during the issue around the CEO of the SABC, Hlaudi Motsoeneng. They came to two different findings. So definitely what you need here is clarity from the highest court in the land with regards to the powers of the public protector. We also understand that the public protector is expected to give a media briefing after this ruling has taken place. So yes, the president definitely has made it a bit easy for the Constitutional Court judges when they come to determining the powers of the public protector. The other issue, as you've indicated, is the issue around how much the president should pay. The EFF wants the Minister of Finance to be involved. They want the Auditor General to be involved as well in determining the amount to be paid. The public protector has already indicated that she has some problems with regards to bringing in the Auditor General to determine the amount to be paid. The other issue, of course, is the issue around the time frame. The EFF wants that money to be paid within 90 days after this Constitutional Court ruling.
All right, let's leave it there. Aldrin Sampear, thanks so much for giving us that analysis into the Constitutional Court ruling. We should expect that judgment in a couple of hours' time, and we are going to be covering it live right here on SABC News, so do stay tuned. I also heard that it'll be on radio as well, SAFM. I'm not too sure if other stations will be carrying it, but definitely SAFM.